There is huge censorship going on in gaming right now. I'm sure a lot of you saw Steam a few days back announced that hundreds of games have been pulled from their catalog because of the efforts of a group known as Collective Shout.
Who controls what games you can buy? The answer sadly is not Steam, it's not developers, and it's not even governments, because this week actually proved that it's MasterCard. They can fine platforms $200,000 for selling games with, quote, no artistic value. Because apparently MasterCard are the judges of artistic value.
We at Steam have decided to take down certain adult and NSFW games off of our store. We're being forced by payment processors to take down these games. Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal have all agreed that these games go against their standards. The payment processors have been lobbied by a group called Collective Shout, who have made efforts to take down games like GTA 5 and Detroit Become Human.
Whoa, okay, this definitely sounds like a slippery slope to censor games.
YouTube, on August 13th, is rolling out a new age verification system powered by AI to make your viewing experience safer.
The introduction of the new online child safety laws are coming into effect today.
Censorship is about to ruin the hell out of gaming. Rockstar is prepared to ask people for their real ID just to look at their website. Xbox says that they're going to be asking for ID as early as 2026.
Obviously, like every weapon out there, this is only going to be used for good. Clearly, they're only going to use this power to take down very bad, gross things. Which is the most low IQ take you could ever have.
Games and the internet as we know them are fundamentally changing. We are at a turning point, and I'm not being dramatic here. We're heading into a future where you can't see what you want, can't buy what you want, and can't say what you want. Not only because your government passed some sweeping law, but because tech companies, payment processors, and now even websites are quietly deciding what's moral enough for you to access. And if that's not bad enough, governments are stepping in too, not to protect your rights, but to demand you scan your face, upload your government ID, just to prove you're old enough. You want to buy an adult game on Steam or itch.io? Nope. Censored. Want to use YouTube, Spotify, Reddit, or even goddamn Wikipedia? Papers, please. Yeah, the days of being anonymous on the internet are done. They're getting buried in a ditch behind the barn. And all of this is in the name of child safety. But if you think this is just keeping 14-year-olds off of websites with 18+ content, guess again. Grown-ass adults are being asked to upload government IDs just to access the most basic sites on the web. Look, I usually cover Nintendo content, but I feel like I have to say something about this. Like, this is absolutely insane that what's going on throughout the internet and gaming as a whole. Let's start with the censorship, shall we? You ever try to buy an adult-rated game on Steam or itch.io recently? Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, you don't have to try to hide. I know you have. Well, guess what? A bunch of them are just gone. On the surface, I get it. Who cares about gooning games, right? Some of them are weird as hell. And one in particular was so vile, I'm not gonna even name it. But here's where it gets bad. The games weren't removed because they were illegal. They were removed because payment processors, yeah, like Visa and MasterCard, said, yeah, nah, this ain't moral enough for us. Let that sink in. It wasn't in the law. It was the banks deciding what you're allowed to buy with your own goddamn money. And why did Visa and MasterCard suddenly become the morality police? Because of a little group from Australia called Collective Shout. Ah, yes, Collective Shout. Australia's self-appointed moral overlords, founded by Melinda Tankard-Rees, who seems to think Eminem lyrics are literal terrorist threats. They've been on a mission since 2009 to scrub the planet of anything even slightly spicy. Ads? Offensive. Games? Dangerous. Female characters? Clearly a threat to society. They've been trying to get titles like Grand Theft Auto 5 and Detroit Become Human pulled off of shelves since 2014, just because they don't align with their Sesame Street level idea of what's appropriate. Their latest targets were Steam and itch.io. When the storefronts didn't bend the knee, Collective Shout did the ultimate Karen move. They went over everyone's heads and harassed the payment processors instead. Annoying phone calls, constant emails, you know, the digital version of asking for the manager. And it worked! Now those processors are forcing platforms to delist games just to stay in business. And look, even if you don't like the content, this is a dangerous precedent. These games were 100% legal. This isn't about taste, it's about control. Who the hell is Collective Shout to dictate what you can or can't buy? And why is Visa and MasterCard acting like the Vatican all of a sudden? If they can restrict adult games today, who's to say they won't go after any game tomorrow? Hell, any media. What if the next group wants to ban violence, or LGBTQ content, or literally anything that isn't rated G? Take Baldur's Gate 3, for example. This game could easily be labeled obscene. Whether it's Collective Shout calling the shots or some other group that thinks LGBTQ content is just too much for their fragile little worldview. And that's wild because BG3 is one of my favorite games of all time, but under the wrong moral guidelines, it could be next on the chopping block. Because once that door opens, it never really shuts. Today, it's spicy anime games. Tomorrow, it's Baldur's Gate. And if Collective Shout actually gets their way with video games, forget GTA 6. That thing's never getting released. It'll be trapped in development purgatory forever. Collective Shout hurts women they claim to protect. You want to protect women in games? Great. But if devs are terrified of being delisted for including female characters, they'll just stop including them altogether. And then what? All our games become sausage fests starring dudes in tactical vests. Iconic characters like Bayonetta, Lara Croft, or Yennefer from The Witcher, gone. Too sexy, too bold, too threatening to the Karen coalition. Collective Shout's approach isn't just stuck up and outdated. It's like trying to rate video games based on a Facebook rant from your uncle who thinks rock music still causes a satanic panic. And worst of all, it's completely counterproductive because when you make developers afraid to include any strong or complex female characters, they'll just stop trying. Instead of more representation, you get less. Fewer women in games, fewer diverse stories, and more bland, lifeless NPCs designed to avoid controversy. The result? A creative wasteland where no one takes risk, everyone plays it safe, and the only thing left are dull characters in dull worlds doing nothing remotely interesting. And if you think it stops with games, I've got bad news. If payment processors can be bullied into restricting what you're allowed to buy, that kind of control isn't going to stay in the gaming lane. It's going to bleed into books, comics, movies, everything. Give these groups or companies an inch, and they take a mile. It never stops at one thing. First, it's adult games. Then it's anything they decide is inappropriate. And before you know it, half the media you love is wiped off the face of the internet. But here's the good news. People are already pushing back. Right now, gamers are doing exactly what Collective Shout did, flooding phone lines, emailing Visa and MasterCard, and they're demanding they stick to their one actual job, processing payments. That's it. That's all they should be doing. And you know what? It's working. At least in the sense that Visa and MasterCard are clearly annoyed. MasterCard even put out a hilariously vague statement trying to save face, claiming they don't make decisions about the content that is sold on platforms. Yeah, sure, they just strongly suggest that certain content shouldn't be sold. And then suddenly platforms magically remove those exact titles. Total coincidence, right? Meanwhile, customer service reps are reportedly fed up with the constant calls from angry gamers. Because turns out, when you mess with people's freedoms to buy what they want, they're gonna be loud about it. But censorship isn't the only thing we're up against. Let's talk about the other horrifying development, mandatory age verification laws. You've probably heard about the UK's Online Safety Act, the law that sounds like it came out of a Black Mirror episode. Under this act, websites must verify that users are over 18 if they host harmful content. That includes mature or age-restricted content, but also violent games, extreme language, and even certain memes. And how do they verify that? Well, government-issued ID or facial recognition AI. I'm not making this up. Companies like Yoti, one of UK's biggest age verification tech vendors, are already working with websites to roll out AI age scanning and ID upload systems. Some sites in the UK, including adult content platforms and even Reddit, are starting to require ID verification. And yes, Wikipedia and YouTube are on the list. And this isn't just a UK problem. In the United States, several states like Utah, Louisiana, and Arkansas have already passed or proposed laws that require ID to access certain websites, including social media. Platforms are responding by rolling out these restrictions globally just to cover their asses. But it's just to protect the kids. Yeah, okay. Look, I get it. Kids shouldn't be on sites with mature content. But is uploading your passport to a third-party data broker the answer? Let's be real. This isn't about protecting kids. It's about normalizing surveillance. Governments and corporations want a digital paper trail for every single thing you do online. every video you watch, every song you listen to, every game you buy. You like Pokemon? Watch Nintendo videos? Congrats! The algorithm thinks you're 14. Please upload your ID, you child. What, you think uploading your ID is safe? You think this is safe? Let me hit you with some numbers. According to Surfshark's 2025 mid-year report, over 150,000 websites were breached just in the first 3 months of 2025. That's hundreds of millions of users' records, email addresses, passwords, even ID scans, floating around on the dark web. Imagine uploading your driver's license just to watch a freaking Pokemon video, and then it gets hacked. What's next? Retina scans to buy a game? Even if the systems don't get breached, think about the level of surveillance we're walking into. Governments, and by extension, corporations, would have access to what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're buying. And if they don't like what you're into, congrats, you just got put on a list. Music that's radical? Banned. Games that are too violent? Delisted. Videos that question authority? Shadow banned. And they'll say it's all for your safety. Don't sleep on this. This isn't a slippery slope. We're already halfway down it. Face first, payment processors are already controlling what you can buy. Governments are already demanding your ID for basic online access, and corporations are already building the surveillance infrastructure to make it permanent. But this doesn't mean we just roll over and take it. If you care about digital freedom, do something. Email Visa and MasterCard. Seriously, clog their inboxes the same way Collective Shout did. Let them know you're not cool with banks acting like the morality police. Support platforms that actually respect your privacy. Use payment services that don't bend the knee to activist pressure. And don't sleep on the ID laws either. That stuff starts local. Call your representatives, show up to town halls, email your senators, tell them you don't support mandatory ID verification just to use the internet. Demand transparency about which companies are collecting data, who they're working with, and what's being done with your information. Because once this stuff becomes law, rolling it back is like trying to uninstall Internet Explorer. Borderline impossible. If we don't push back now, then we're all gonna be reminiscing about the good old days where you can just watch a freaking YouTube video without scanning your face or uploading your ID or swearing some kind of blood oath to some AI overlord. Sorry for deviating from my normal content, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that nonsense, and I'll catch you in the next one.